better. That's better.
If you're sitting here watching this stream today, you cannot underestimate how ahead of the curve you are right now.
Bitcoin looks tired. All coins look hungry.
I'm just not quite sure that Bitcoin has any more sauce.
I still think this thing is really worth a lot more than it is.
This stuff's spooky, man. These chaos PRZs are intense.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Solana is highly performant and has the team with the experience to support it.
$4,800 Ethereum. That's a big, big move here.
Whatever you do, always play from a position of strength. Welcome back, everybody, to Hxro Labs Live on Thursday. Halfway through September now, September 15th. I am in rough shape today, okay? I was up till 6 a.m. The merge locally here was about 2:30. Had my cousin, who's also the intern at my fund, come over and we set up the screens. We just kind of had a good old night. Popcorn, got the little putt-putt going, playing some games. So I'm in recovery, as are the markets, who took a big dump overnight. So we're going to look through some charts. We're going to kick it. Just a casual stream today. Nothing big, nothing fancy. But, as usual, chock full of good ideas and alpha. That's what I do. That's what I'm here. If I didn't have anything to share that I thought was valuable, I wouldn't come. So let's take a look at the charts today, starting off with the Trendmaster. That daily breakout last week that gave a very sweet signal. That trend is over. The trend broke down. And, you know, I got a little trade out of that. I didn't hold too much spot through the merge, at least like trade bag wise. I still have like some ETH that I'm just going to kind of hold and sit on. ETHBTC is at an interesting level. Bouncing down this trend line up in the high time frame short reload zone, which really just marks the high range, the top half of this range. So we've got our highs, we've got our lows. Now, I actually did something extremely impressive last week, but no, bear with me, I'm not bragging. Okay, it was very impressive. I actually managed to long the exact top of this move. So I was an uncanny fade with my ETHBTC analysis, basically just saying like this looks super bullish, blah blah blah. I mean, caught completely offside. Thankfully, had the wherewithal to cut actually a little before my invalidation because I just realized, oh god, I'm so wrong. Like this is so stupid. Even if I'm right, this is a terrible place to be thinking about longing this. And so I've made 2 trades on ETHBTC this year. One of them was me puking my position around here, swapping my ETH to Bitcoin because I thought, you know, we've lost this. If you actually do it on like, I think it was a weekly. Yeah. So like on a weekly, it was like, hey, we lost that low. We've retested it. And so I was like, okay, so we're going to go lower. We're going to fill this in. Terrible call. Terrible call. I don't even know if I talked about that one on the stream, but just to be fully transparent, I did decide to move my ETH to Bitcoin there. Now, thankfully, as traders do, we have invalidations, and my invalidation was the highs of that area, that range. So I bought my ETH back here. So it was not too much damage, but it's just, again, it's amazing. The uncanny ability I had demonstrated there to short at really the worst absolute time. And then I didn't make another trade on ETHBTC until I longed Bitcoin, or, you know, longed ETH right here. And somewhere right here, as this level broke, I just went, oh god. That was stupid. And so at the time, I cut it pretty early, and I was thinking I might rebuy here, and I haven't done either of those things. So we'll see. Oh, music is glitching. All right, let's cut the music. Fuck it. We'll do it live. Thank you for the heads up. The producer has informed me that the music sucks. So we're going to cut the music for now. That's really weird, because it did that once upon a time, and it wasn't doing it anymore. Oh, that's what you meant. Okay, so Swiveljaw already told me that. It said the music is twitching. I was like, is that like a way of saying cool? Anyways, sorry guys. Music's toast. We're back. My bad. I hear it in my ears perfectly fine because I'm just hearing it on my Spotify, but thank you for that feedback. How is it now? And they're gone. No, so I was up till like 5 a.m., which is like, I don't do that. I'm a dad now. I stay up till like 10. I get tired, I fall asleep. But last night felt like a special thing, you know. I wanted to be up for the merge. I wanted to be there for it. I wanted to watch the price action. Fuck off, dial up. Motherfucker, I got gigabit hardlined. Anyways, yeah, it's probably my dial up. So I was up late and really just woke up like an hour ago. That's actually why we went an hour late today, because I was just like, I'm going to need an hour to put on my face. All that to say, I wanted to share today that these are the entries I made on ETHBTC. And I made them on the wrong ends. So it was like, hey, short here, long here. So that's pathetic, but it is part of the game, you know. And in both cases, if nothing else, it's a demonstration of how important risk management is, because I didn't really lose much on either one. Like, I didn't get this wrecked on each one. It's just, it's amazing to me, actually. I noticed the two of them. I was like, damn, I literally did that. So a little time to reflect on ETHBTC. It looks like it's going to be up in here, emming out, doing what price does in short reload zones, and then eventually, you know, finding a neckline here and then breaking down. That, from today's position, is what looks most probable right here. But we're going to have to see how this ETH merge post-world looks and how it shakes out. Because right now it's consolidating up here. And sometimes, as you guys know, assets do not reverse in these short or long reload zones. And so it's very possible that we just consolidate up here, you know, let the market shake out, let everyone jockey for position. Remember, this is ETHBTC. Your macro can do whatever it wants. This is just a relationship between ETH and BTC. So the whole market could dump, and this thing could go up if, you know, Bitcoin dumps more. So it could consolidate through here and eventually just find its way higher. The shift in supply and new minted Ethereum, I think, would be logical for this to happen. But there's nothing that's saying, there's nothing to say that we can't just revisit this first, because that's a very juicy level. That's the kind of the level that I like to use as a target, at least for waiting for an entry, or if I was finding a short entry up here, using that as my take profit. So we'll see. If I was going to long this again, I certainly won't do it up here. I've learned my lesson. I've taken my licks. You know, we're bouncing down this trend line. There is some bullish divergence here. So this is either the low of this range, and we're going to just move up. But I'm more comfortable being patient. And when things get really nasty down here, if they ever did, I could start looking for W's, bull divs, buy volume, etc., and start moving on it. Now let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is in a zone. Hasn't really done a whole lot. It's pretty much trading where it's been trading for the last few months. Up through this range. Actually, I don't know if that's the chart I want to show. It is not. Let's go see. Let's go see. I have a different one, slightly different range. One that I prefer. Here we go. Yeah, that's it. So, as you can see, pump teaser zone. Don't give a fuck. It's not really the season for that, so not surprised. Off the lows, made a high. Let's call that range high, range low. This is where we live for now. The midpoint being the range EQ, blue dotted line. That's going to be, I think, where we play for the next little while. At best, of course, the big question is, are these lows going to hold? Can this market withstand further bearishness on the part of the SPX, the S&P, the TradFi, the macros? This is a little squiggly I drew up for like how this gap might play out, because there's a gap here, gap here, gap up here, gap up here. You know, do we dip through that and get all savage and go up? Jury's out. There's a lot of very smart people in the world who are basically confident and convinced that we just must go lower and this is nowhere near done. There's also some very smart people out there who know their shit and are saying we're going to chill here and then melt back up, and the big parabolic blow off of the entire fucking world's market is not done yet. I don't know. I don't trade this shit. So I'm just looking forward to the day where we can decorrelate. And I think that there will be that day. But in the absence of news and new things, we're going to probably just lockstep with them for a little while now. And yeah, I mean, crypto looks pretty similar in that it came into its lows, broke out, and is now retesting the breakout level of that. Bitcoin looking similar. ETH actually outperforming. So we're going to see. What did you guys do last night for the merge? Anyone actually stay up and watch it, or am I just a big fucking nerd? Bullish hopium right now. L. Okay, here you go. All of crypto is still worth less than Apple stock. So it's undervalued. That's my 2 cents. And so whatever timeline you need, whatever time horizon you need, I am confident that some of the bags that I'm holding that I'm not going to sell, and that's a portion of my portfolio, not all of it. A lot of it I will just get the hell out when things look bad. But for the bags I have, some Ethereum, some Bitcoin, Solana, whatever else, I am confident that that's the best place for me to put my money right now. Even if I timed it wrong and next year we have another shit year and oh my God, it's a depression. The 1920s come again. And things move sideways like they did post 2001 tech bubble. But I am confident we will have an adoption curve similar to Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and how they just kind of went up only for 10 years after that 10-year sideways trough. That's what I think is next. There's your bullish hopium. I don't know if I can do much for you today. Yeah, I agree. For anyone, yeah, I just don't think we're set up for a very bullish, month, quarter. Because look, if you're a whale, you're the mover of the market, the one who's going to put the floor in, the people that essentially decide where the big levels are, the big actors sitting at the table. If they think S&P is going lower, I mean, really, think about what the purpose of the bear market is for them. You have to think in this way, because I want to get long with that kind of money. I want to get long with the smart money. I'm going to watch for the big buy volume to step in and say, holy shit, that's a motherfucking whale. They just put their flag down. They're going to defend that level. Their job through the bear market, I'm like out of breath today. That's how hungover I am. Their job through the bear market is to suck as much value out of the weak hands as possible and put it in their pockets at the lowest possible price. Time horizon, very different from you and I. Do they need the rent money? Not so much. Do they need it for car payments? Not so much. They can sit for 2 years, 5 years, at any level, whatever. So if there is this macroeconomic background that's going to fuck everything up, why would they step in and be like, no, we're going to keep, ETH up here at 1,200, which is where I want it to go. I want ETH. Where's my ETH chart? There it is. I want ETH to end up down here, right? This is the level that I would like, technically speaking, to make my next bids. Even through this, maybe there's like a move down here and then chill and then, bullish divergence as we come into that. And then, that's like the picture perfect kind of reload zone, higher low, high time frame. And then we just chop around or move up from there, but never really go below that. But if there is something going on in the world that would totally, cause panic and create a whole new wave of sellers, people who didn't sell here, you could argue probably just aren't going to sell. But there could be new information. There could be a new wave of death in the S&P. And my point, I guess, is that there's no real incentive for the powers that be to prop this thing up if they don't have to. In fact, in many ways, if you're a long-term bull on this shit, you'd love to see some reason to get everyone to puke their bags out and get in here and start loading up a proper bag, right? So in a weird way, long-term bulls are happy to be short-term bears if it serves their long-term goals. So, it's fine. Some people are saying I don't think we're ready to go up from here. I would agree with you. I don't think there's any reason to right now. There's certainly no rush to. And for all the days that we might just talk about being bulls, because we are, and I am, it's just important to remember that as general cycles go, markets go up, they go down, they tend to go down much faster and quicker than they went up, and then they move sideways. And that sideways can feel like an eternity. It can be up, down, higher, lower lows, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, 6K drop. oh my God, and that's the bottom, and it gets so flat and depressing, and then it breaks out, and we start the next cycle. Whatever that looks like. I don't know. I'm not calling for $240 ETH, but you know what I mean? That's the cycle kind of shape, typically how it plays out. And if this is our bottom range, we just arrived here. And that trough should be at least 2 times as long as the down. So buckle up, chill, don't force it. Come up with a plan. In fact, I was doing some reorganizing last night because I decided enough's enough. I need to get right back to brass tacks and really focused on like the trading plan stuff that I had humming at the start of the last bull market, and then through the bull kind of fell off because it was actually serving me better to just be aping around. Things happen so fast, they move so quick. If I missed a little breakout, instead of waiting for a setup to come in or just saying I'm going to pass, I would just ape in. And it would work because it would go 10x or whatever. But that's not serving me anymore. And I need to get back to the good stuff. So I have a plan. And it's basically to allocate everything very intentionally now. So it's almost like reapproaching the market. If you had the amount of cash that is your entire portfolio sitting in cash, how would you deploy it? Would you deploy it right now? And if you would, exactly how would you allocate that? So kind of like a reset. It's pretty typical for things like this to happen at non-opportune times. So there's like a non-zero chance that if I do some selling through that reorg that, I may look back in a little while and, however long that trough takes. And then I'll like, oh man, like I had some sells down here. That was really stupid. Just rebalancing my port. But the net result of me rebalancing everything and getting back on track, getting the goals sorted out, getting the trading plan going, really making my trading life boring again, because that's when it was the most successful. Business as usual. If I have to do some selling at whatever time or buying, in some cases I may be adding to positions here because I'll be like, oh, I don't actually have any AVAX right now. And I am this bullish on them, compared to the portfolio, I think I should have 8% exposure to that or 5%. And so I'm going through all of that this week. Kind of a big conversation I had with my buddy last night. We're both going to do it. So that's refreshing. I already feel better because admittedly for the last few months I was just kind of like fucking around a bit, which is great when it works, annoying when it doesn't. But overall, you look back after a month or two and you go kind of like, I'm done with that. So, yeah. Respect the doomers today, says Kevin. So that's what I'm dealing with. And the exciting thing for me is that that's actually going to mean a lot less looking at price action in the short term for me. Oh, excuse me, I got to yawn. It's going to be a lot less price action watching for me and like trying to make it back and do any kind of real trading, chasing bullshit. My day-to-day is going to be a lot more focused on data collection, on organizing, and it's going to set me up to get ready for taxes this year, which last year I spent 6 fucking months. I started in October and I didn't finish till like June. So actually more than 6 months. This year I'll as part of this reorg thing, I'll be basically getting on track for that too. So that's my main focus going forward. And as usual, I'll be watching the market, keep my ear to the ground, listening for opportunities, blah, blah, blah. But I'm getting fucking organized, mate. And that's also going to include a whole bunch of other positive life things like getting my morning routine back, which I've actually been doing for the last 2 weeks, which is like get a good sleep, wake up early, work out, all that stuff. So, yeah. I don't know about today's the day to talk about it, but soon we should have a chat about, what are you guys doing through what is bound to be the most boring, painful part of the market. Arguably down only is pretty fucking painful, but sideways, oof. Because it's not perfectly sideways, right? It's like up 100%, down 80%, up 200%, down 80%, up 100%, down 80%. And down here it convinces you to sell and you feel stupid. Up here it convinces you to FOMO back in and you get rinsed out of the market. And then finally, when you've just given up hope and you've left and enough people have left, we form a base, the buy volume bubbles up, and the next cycle begins. So how to spend our time from here to there. And what allocations to have and what plan. That's the kind of conversation that I want to have over the next little while. It's definitely what I'll be going through. So if y'all want to join in that convo, let me know. Excuse me. Stoyan, what's up, man? For those of you who arrived late, just know that I am super hungover. I was up late last night watching the merge. It was like 3 a.m. local for me for when that went down, and I wanted to see it. Saw my buddy over, so I'm a little rough today, but it's okay. We still come out. We go hard. Check out Microsoft already at June lows. Oh my goodness. Let's go see some stocks. I don't even know the ticker for Microsoft. MSoft? Oh no. Busted. Microsoft Corp. MSFT. Yeah. Yeah, looking like shit. So this is actually a chart that I used as an example. Let's go to the weekly. So look, people like to think, you know, they hate on crypto. They say, oh, there's a lot of that same talk with tech stocks, quote unquote, because think like this was kind of before the proliferation of the internet. The iPhone didn't even exist. I think it was invented sometime through here. And so, yeah, these things had their own little altcoin, shitcoin season through 2000. And then they crashed and went on a 10-year trough. Exactly what I just described. Really good example here. Up, down even faster, and then sideways and boring for a long time. And then, of course, we now exist in this world where, oh, stocks only go up. Well, we might be into a new paradigm for the next little bit where they actually just go down. So, I don't know. I don't know about all that. I think this obviously looks like it is just destined to at least tag the 382. And I'm sure that there's a nice fat level there for it to get some support. That's the pump chaser zone. So that's actually a place where if I was sitting in the stock market, I'd be like, ooh, I'm going to add a little to my investment account. I'm not going to trade stocks. I really don't trade them too much. I think I have a couple, but I don't pay attention. I don't have any edge. But I do have an investment account. So I may, you know, that's the kind of level where I'd call it the broker and be like, let's add 5% or like, let's DCA. And we'll just see how ugly it gets. You know, the 0.5, both of these have some kind of, you know, historical precedence to be support. So, but again, I'm purely using TA here. There's so much more going on in the stock market. Earnings and inflation and blah, blah, blah. TA is probably, in my opinion, a lot weaker in the stock market. Crypto, it's almost like you have no other way to value it. You just have to play off that. Speculative comparisons and stuff. Coin picker season. Yep, it is. There's always a bull somewhere. You can check a leaderboard, and I bet there's some green today. Let's see. Who's up on Binance? Let's go to Binance BTC pairs. Ooh, VIB BTC. I mean, there's always a bull somewhere. Wonder why this thing's pumping. But it's dangerous thinking, right? You don't want to be like, I'm just going to go around and try to like find the thing that's going to pump because I'm bored. I mean, there will be a day when the whole market's looking like this. This chart looks great. There's a Bitcoin pair, keep in mind. It's probably a little up versus USD today, but you know, this is kind of what you want to see. Like a slow dying trough and then buy volume, breakout. So there is always a bull somewhere. I just don't know that there's much value in trying to catch the odd diamond in the rough during a seasonal downturn. I think there's more productive ways of being, and that's not even to say like leave the market, do other things. Yeah, do a bit of that, but networking. Last bear market, I got a job working in crypto. Look at me now. I do a YouTube stream. This was the job I got. So there's lots of things you can do that set you up for greater success down the road. And if you manage to get a job in crypto, if you're one of those people who's like, I wish I had time to focus entirely on the market, finding a job in crypto is a great way to do that. You know, I was a school teacher. I was a full-time teacher. And then I got this job, and then I went down to half-time teaching. I did this job and that for 2 years just to make sure. And then finally I took the plunge, and I'll never look back. I'm mining mobile tokens with the Helium miners. They're going to be partnered with Solana in the DIVI phone. Okay. Nice. That's like HNT, right? HNT had a little run recently. Possibly on the back of that kind of news, moving over to Helium. Solana. Oh, wow. It had a very little move, which zoomed out on the daily doesn't look like much. But I remember it being more like this on the day. It was like, it was on the leaderboard for a little bit with like, what is that? Like 70% pump or rally. It doesn't look like a bottom yet, though. There's no trough here. No trough here. moving average is super bearish. There's just no reason for me to get bullish on this yet. Not like you were suggesting I should be, but just a heads up. That's what I'm thinking when I look at it. I know, seriously, Meatfish. Can you tell these guys to fuck off? No more talk about stocks, please. But it is an interesting comparison for those who just think it's up only in Stocktown. They've had their bear markets too, through the tech boom anyways. I know, if crypto moves sideways from 10 years from now, like to me, that's the worst case scenario. When somebody's like, well, do you know it's going to go back up? I'm like, I'm pretty fucking confident it will. But I could see it getting bogged down in a total global economic crisis for fucking years. That's the fear, right? That's probably what's going to get the people to sell the lows. You always look back at these lows, and then, during the bull market, you're like, man, I wish I was around. I would have bought it down there so cheap. Why wasn't everyone buying? And it's like there's always some reason at those lows to just not be buying. Some narrative, some an analysis that shows it's actually only halfway done. It's going to go lower. There's always a reason. And then during this previous bull, it was kind of like, man, if these prices ever come back, I'm just going to load up because, like, fuck. Well, here we are. 80% off the highs in many cases, more in others. Let's go see. What is helium? Helium is 94% discount right now to somebody buying the exact same thing last November. Why am I not buying? Because my macro, right? There's always going to be some fear or reason to wait at the lows. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong with letting heroes be heroes and come in and just catch daggers and try to make the floor. Because at the end of the day, what's going to happen is you're going to have some kind of whale step in and you're going to see some buy volume down here. And you're going to be like, oh, fuck, that's a lot of buying. Like, that's like somebody with billions of dollars putting a floor in this thing. And then it's going to break out. You don't even have to chase that because most likely it's going to come down one more time, reload zone, and then there's nothing wrong with just waiting for this shit. In fact, that's the right way to do it. And I need to get better at that. I've definitely done a little bit of overtrading this year. Raise your hand if you've overtraded a little this year. But we play from strength, so overtrading, all the little losses, like, and some wins, but never putting total things at risk, right? That's the key to survival. Yeah, Fishy says, looking at the TA alone, stuff is screaming oversold, and there are divergences. I agree. Let's go zoom in. Let's get real. We're getting zoomed out and philosophical, mopey. I'm like out of breath. That's how little sleep I got last night, and I don't even say I'm like wasted, but definitely a little hungover. But I'm like out of breath. So I might just do like, we'll turn on some music and I'll just quietly chart. Just kidding. But so let's go to an hourly. I actually really like, I've been really enjoying the 4-hour bullish divergences when they come in levels like this kind of reload zone thing. So we're not quite there yet. I think we're setting up for it. So this is Bitcoin. Let's see. Yeah. So that's what we had last week. That's actually what happened right before the rally. So you had Bitcoin trickling down into this high time frame reload zone. You could say, okay, I'm going to wait for the sweet spot. I'm going to wait for the 786. I'm going to wait for the 886. And then you look down, and as it's coming into those levels, oops. As it's coming into those levels, you have just these big higher lows in RSI. Now, I know there's a whole thing about RSI, and it's only 11 periods, and it should only count across 11 candles. Well, sue me. I do it a little differently, but I see this as gaining momentum as price goes down. Less intense downside on momentum. And if that's not, if you're like, okay, well, that's invalid for the RSI, I think on the daily, there was actually some nice bull divs. That's what I had drawn here. So higher lows, lower lows. That's a signal. Doesn't mean it's going to rally, but it's certainly a good idea to take a closer look. Then you could say, oh, look, volume's bubbling out, whatever. Find yourself a setup. But I am noticing a bit of that on the hourlies for these coins. And I think it would be hilarious if we just chill here for a bit and then just kind of do the thing everyone's hoping post-merge. This is obviously Bitcoin, but if ETH did something like that, that'd be freaking awesome. But I think it's more likely we create a very long, boring range here at best. I'd say I'm 80% sure that that's the best bull case we can hope for the next couple of months. And then there's also just a decent chance that we have a new lows in the S&P and breakdown. I'm not betting on that yet. If that happens, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But I'm not like running around trying to short this low end of this range. Hell no. And for what it's worth, I still think there's a good chance we don't lose those lows on ETH. But I don't know what that means. Even if I say I'm 80% sure, if it goes and happens, I'll be like, well, I wasn't wrong. Because I said there was a 20% chance it would, right? So take it for a grain of salt. But, I mean, this chart looks like shit. It looks like shite, laddie. So, and I was saying this last night, and I was kind of like, ooh, short time frame. There was a few little long potential setups here, local reload zones. But then I was like, look at this daily. I mean, it just has to, right? It just has to visit this. We've come into this, like, this was the big resistance, right? We broke out of it. We broke below it. We hit it. We lost it. We've trickled up slowly into it. No buy volume, no real bulls interested in pushing it through there. And then it just put in a 3-bar fractal and failed. And merge and failed. So if we don't end up down in the mid 12s, I'd be shocked. That doesn't mean I'm selling every bit of my Ethereum right here to short to it, but I have lightened my load through this, and I'm not going to start adding it back until that. And I don't even think I'm going to set like a bid to catch it on a wick, but I'm going to watch it, because if I'm right, what I think is more likely to happen is that we actually kind of like chill down here. Do that really choppy thing where it just keeps making lows as you think it's the bottom and stopping everyone out. And then on one of these lows, I expect to see bullish divergence, maybe some buy volume, and then we can have some fun ranging back up. That's my next play for Ethereum. Seems the most likely. And then we just got to pray and hope that we don't just have a proper fuck you and go through the whole lows and take a whole nother leg down across the board and get really nasty. I think a lot of people think that's going to happen, and they have good reason to believe so. Because bear markets tend to just be dicks. So, not all my eggs in that basket, but for what it's worth, I'll be long in that range low, or at least looking for longs on it. Ooh, Dan Dubois asking the tough questions here. What are your 3 golden rules have to be checked off before you pull the trigger on the trade? That's called discipline. That's the more like on-point trade plan stuff that I used to do kind of through the end of the last bear and into the start of the bull. And as I was saying earlier in the show, I've fallen so far away from that. And so last night, and it's over the last couple of weeks, I've been gearing up for like a full reset, which will be reallocating my portfolio, which in many cases, like there's bags I just can't move, whether they're liquid or they're vested. So there's actually only a little bit of flexibility in what I have. And so I'm going to take that flexibility. I'm going to allocate a certain amount to cash. I'm going to have criteria for what I do and when with that cash, like weekly W's. So that could be 12 months away, and I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to have that spread out in a few yield strategies. That'll probably make up the majority of the cash, and then I'll have, say like 8% Bitcoin, 8% Ethereum, or maybe 16% Ethereum, because I'm more bullish on Ethereum. Stuff like that. So I'm going to sort all that out, and then from that, as the base, Dan Dubois, I'm going to get back into the more like tut trade rules and all that stuff. But I can tell you what 3 golden rules should be before you pull the trigger on a trade. First of all, maximizing your risk nowhere higher than 5% of your account. Probably better living in like the 0.5% and 1% until you become an absolute stunner and you're just like, oh, it's a waste that I'm only risking this tiny bit. Chances are the lessons you'll learn risking tiny through that are valuable and will actually save you money rather than starting off your trading with like, I'm going to risk the max 5% on all my bets. Because then the other thing that sucks is just say you lose 5% trades. So you're down 15% in your whole portfolio. That's assuming you're in cash and other parts of your positions aren't just going down too. If part of your portfolio is volatile. After you lose those 5% trades, it's really hard and it feels really shitty to then go and tighten up and start doing a bunch of 1%ers. Because you'd have to win quite a few trades in a row just to break even there. So mentally, I think it's really good to start with tiny risk and then see where you're at after 50 trades. So golden rule number 1, max your risk at 5, but probably live around 0.5%, 1%, 2%. Another golden rule I have, don't trade when I'm drunk. That's a golden rule. If I am intoxicated, I am not allowed to trade. Just don't do it. Don't do it. It's net negative. I don't have any cool stories about times that I got drunk and blew up my whole account, but they do exist. And you really got to optimize, and that's just not optimal. So that's a good golden rule. What are some other good golden rules? Hit us up in the chat with things that you have. I know a guy who only trades with his shoes on. He hits the desk in the morning. He says, one of my trade plan rules is like I need to be sitting at the desk, showered with a coffee, with my shoes on. It makes me feel like I'm at work. It gives me a mental edge. It whatever it does for him, that's one of his rules. What are your guys' rules? Blockmates, what's up, man? That might be Grant, I say. Good to see you, bro. Yeah, don't play the Fed meetings. When is the Fed meeting? Is that like 2:30 today? It's at 1:30 for me right now, so it'll be like in an hour. FOMC. Always thinks of the word FOMO. Makes me think of the word FOMO. Yeah, that's true. Meatfish just made a really good point, which actually many of my trade mentors have said over the years. A friend who trades for a hedge fund, he gets flat whenever the Fed meet, as you can never be 100% sure of the news. Having big or any open positions, especially like leverage if you're a day trader, going into an FA event is typically a negative EV or whatever you want to call it play. Not good. You ask professional traders over the years as they collect their data, all the times you did that, did you make more than you lost? No. Almost all the time they'll say that. So, like anything, like the merge last night, you don't have to trade it. The temptation is to sit there and think, oh, how can I get this? But then you just got to ask yourself, is this the optimal time or way to trade? It's not. Easy mode will be back. It will. It's not going to be easy. We call it easy mode, but even through that, it's hard. There's a lot of people who didn't make a whole lot during that last bull market. So, but that shit will be back. And I've showed you guys this before, but I'm going to show you again because I was actually looking through this with my buddy last night. I used to do a lot of these trade setups on our trading view. I'd like to get back into it when there's a good season around with lots of good setups. This, to me, is the example of easy mode because you have this long, drawn-out trough that was really started. Actually, it started before this. You just can't see the chart history. But it was basically from August until January. Half a year, and there was actually a year behind that too. And you had this rising volume. Look at this huge blast in volume. Price barely moved off the lows, just a little cute W retest. And then you had coins on Binance leaderboard every day. There was a new coin pumping 100%, breaking out. Everything was just breaking out. It was fucking go time. And then I found this chart, and I looked at Ocean. I was like, holy shit, look at this volume. Oh my God. Boom, boom, boom. It just broke through, and it retested. And at that moment, I just decided there's probably... that's where I pull out my 5% risk trade. I'm like, load the fuck up. Because that is every signal you want to see in a market. You could... I don't like to say this, but I knew it was going to pump. I was like, you've got all the evidence in the world. Everything's going, and there's volumes here. The whales are pushing it up. Anyways, look at that. Easy mode. Pipped it too. That's cool. Chaos PRZ. Anyways, that's coming. But we got to do this first. And this sucks, especially if you're trying to force it to be something it's not. So be careful with this shit. Because I am going to start putting some of these setups out again, I think sometime next year. My guess would be next year is when I'm confident enough to do it. Because I don't like putting out too many ideas or encouraging essentially what would be over trading in retrospect. I think it's good to just know when to chill, and that's actually something I need to learn and work on too. So here we are. But there's tons of alpha that you can develop and collect in the bear market. If you're one of those people who's like, oh, no, there's nothing of value here, I'm just going to go and check out for a few months and then I'll come back when my favorite YouTube account is giving out free signals again. If that's the way you're planning to make it in the market, probably not going to make it. Let's be real. The guys who are grinding right now, who are focused, who are patient, who are disciplined, who are learning new skills, who are, applying all this shit, really, really good chance that in the next 2 to 5 years, moon. Never trade on my phone. That's a good rule. That's a really good rule, actually, and that's underrated because this year more than ever, I've started trading on my phone, and I had a rule not to do that. And actually even did it on Tuesday. I had a really nice short position on Ethereum, believe it or not, because I talk about this stuff all the time. I actually did it right here. Right here I had my little thing, and I had a short here, and a short here, and a short here, and I had my stop loss at 1801. And yeah, I set that up before I went to bed. We woke up. It was whatever it was, the CPI print, poked it in, and it was like, great. And I woke up. Only the first of my 3 orders hit. Anyways, I closed this on my phone because I didn't see the full picture. And then obviously looking back, I'm like, there was really no reason to close that short, on the first leg down. Because on my computer, I would have seen that, like I've been showing you high time frame, what I really think is going to happen is that we just, chill here, do whatever we're going to do here, but eventually we're going to end up down here. So yeah, do I miss my short? Yeah. Did I close it because I was looking at my phone and I didn't have the full picture? Yeah. Did I still make some money on it and feel like a champ? Yeah. But I need to optimize, right? When you're in a good trade, you got to let your winners run. So I actually had that lesson this week, which is part of what spurred me into this whole, it's time to get our shit together. Because that was an easy hold. There was zero, even, I could have even at the very least, I was thinking just move stop loss to break even. Take the risk off. But anyways, let's see, because we could be coming into a local low. I'm not going to get too excited about buying anything just yet with any particular size. I've got my bags that I've got, and I'm just going to kind of roll with them. But we're in sort of a local reload zone. We got that nice buy volume at the merge last night. Is there an ABCD? Not quite. Well, no, I guess it goes here. Yeah, so sweep these lows. Nah, I don't like it. Not a whole lot going on here today. I mean, scalpy, short time frame. Could I scalp long into this level here? Yeah, but that's called over trading. Waiting for the big setups, backed by higher time frames and big volume. That's the shit we got to do. There's nothing wrong with paying yourself. Yeah. Yeah, no, Nicolo, you're right. I'm not sitting here. I'm not so beat up about it. It was a great trade. I spent the day watching it. I made some money. I closed it. It's just, yeah, when you're sitting here and you're in a trade like this and you look back, it was more just the daily. You zoom out and look at the daily like we did earlier, and you just think that is a huge level. So a fail from there could be what leads to being all this way down. So anyways, my exit rule initially was to get out on a 3-to-1, which is what I did. So I guess I followed my plan. When trading perps, watch the funding levels. They can eat your profits and get you stuck going sideways on a high rate. Yep. Great rule Meatfish talked about as far as his trading is to keep an eye on funding. So, and that's the other thing. So I was short ETH here. That funding for the last 24 hours or more, that was eating me up. I think for every 100 ETH, that you were short, you had to pay $50 an hour. So whatever that is, $1,200 a day. For every 100 ETH. So if you're in a 500 ETH long, you're paying $6,000 a day just to keep that position open. And if it moves sideways, you're just getting chewed up. Now, obviously, if you held through, you'd make more than those fees cost you. But yeah, it was an expensive position to carry, which I also factored into my decision to just kind of cut it right when it hit the level, because I was like, barely paid any funding. This is fine. When's Solana time? Ugh, please, someday, bro. Look, I think I'm seeing some fractals of Solana lined up with Ethereum through last bear cycle, and I think that's very possible, and it's not an unreasonable view. You may not love it, but it's essentially this, this kind of thing. Won't go that low. That was actually negative, but that kind of thing. And then for however long that has to last through 2023, happening 2024 for Bitcoin, like it's probably when the market's going to show next major signs of life at best, or not at best, but like based on history, right? So whatever this looks like, but yeah, it's kind of what Ethereum did after its big coming out party. There's no reason to think Solana won't. It's just the way she goes. Fuck it. Don't fight the trend. There's something really painful about trying to force the market to be where you want it to be. That's where max pain is. Fully accepting the way that these cycles go and fully accepting, the preservation of capital model into what would be inevitably some kind of easy mode. That's the hardest thing to do, but it's so good. It's so powerful. And it is now my new focus, my primary focus. Now, don't get me wrong. I've done pretty good at protecting capital this cycle. I'm by no means wrecked, but I was on a path of non-optimized trading. And so we're done with all that. So if you've been on a bit of that and you feel like some of this resonates with you, take this as an opportunity to pivot. Buy the book Atomic Habits. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Buy that book. I'm going to pull it up. It will have a positive impact on you of some kind. Let's see. I'm going to copy that image. It's a great book. It's a great way to stay in shape. But, yeah, buy this book. Read it. Listen to it. Actually, through the last bear market, what I did is I had a habit that I did kind of from this book, but it was just to go for a half an hour walk every day and listen to this book. That's how I digested it, and it was great. And it's all about doing tiny little things in your life that over time have remarkable results. And it fits really well with trading. So if I haven't told you, or if you have and you just never did it, and you have nothing else to do, just go read that book. I'm about to reread it. Hey, yeah, let's get some likes on the channel, guys. Don't make me turn into a greasy shill where I have to say things like my channel and subscribe, and here's your 100x of the week. I will make you rich. Pay attention. Don't make me do that. Let's just show some love with an organic, good old Real Talk stream. Dan Pena Squiggly right there. Yeah, seriously. Fucking zero. Let's see. My Arbitrum plays are not doing good. I regret to inform you that I've cut all my Arbitrum positions last weekend because I realized I was just like really spread out and I didn't love it, and I thought I can probably get actually into these reload zones. So somewhere through this, on Sunday, I went on like a big dumping spree. I didn't have big bags. I had like 6 relatively small bags, like 0.25% type shit. So I sold them all, and we're just going to see how it shakes out. Because more and more I thought about it, I thought we have this merge coming. I don't know what the outcome is, but all things considered, there's probably a small crowd of people waiting to buy for right after, which we saw last night. But all things considered, in the wake of that, at least for a couple weeks or a month, there's just energy taken out of the market. There's no excitement, anticipation. That's literally where sell the news comes from. And so I thought, well, I don't need to be in 6 positions. I can hold some ETH and see, and if it's bullish, I'll buy some breakouts or retests. But I was actually like net. I think I was down 1% on all the 6 positions. Some of them were up like 50%. Some of them were down 40%. So, Unami was one of the nice ones because I picked it up down here and sold it up here. God damn magnet. Messing me up. But yeah, something like this. And exactly for this reason, because I just was like, looks like it's going to come back. So I cut my RB plays. I like Mugen, though. I don't know why. It's like a super high risk, like new play. They don't even have a website yet. So if you want to mint, you literally have to like do it in a smart contract, which is the first time I've ever done that. Heads up, though, don't do that, because I think the average price you're paying to mint right now is like 155. So there's actually a discount on the market. So here's a fun one I just aped some shit into over the last couple of days. Don't ask me why. I don't know. My little gem hunter, you know, I don't know, little, but my gem hunter friend put it on my radar. It's like a super low cap RB play. And it's so new, it doesn't even have a website. So I was like, fuck it, I'll buy a little bit. But I found out the hard way after minting some that the actual much cheaper to just buy it. And staking is going live soon, and there's going to be strategies, and it's going to generate APY that's paid in ETH. And so I bought some. We're going to try it out. Jones holding on to this level, barely. Oh, let's go see Jones. Will Russell buying more GMX. Okay, I like that. I like the GMX. Let's go see. Kind of broke out to highs. And last I checked, yeah. Okay. I mean, it's certainly at a level. I'd be a little nervous to buy here given everything else I'm seeing in the market as far as like maybe it's time to just chill for a little bit. But I mean, it's out of support. But if I was going to buy it here, I'd want to have a really good idea of where my invalidation is. Or my time horizon is just so big that I don't even care that, you know, if we come into like a proper Wyckoff check reload zone through the next 6 months, something like that. You know, next spring, get a nice little Q2 rally as crypto loves Q2. Markets in general just kind of like the second quarter. So that could be what we're dealing with now, where it's just shitty until a quarter. And so that's where, you know, I'd love to load my GMX down here. And some people hate that because they're like, well, it's not going to go that low. And I'm like, okay, cool. I don't get any GMX then. And then you go on to the next coin. Some coin, someday, somewhere that's bullish that I like is going to be purchasable in a level like this. And that's part of that discipline and patience shit that I go back to. So actually waiting for that because, yes, I'm like you. I actually bought GMX at 48 last week as part of my like Arbitrum load up. And then as part of my puke, I just sold it all too. Basically a break even on the way down here. Because I just realized, I was like, oh, what am I doing? I'm getting caught up in the hype. All this hype, right? Building up around the highs, these range highs, right around resistances. The merge is about to go live, and I'm buying? What's going to happen for the next 2 months? Probably that emotional, euphoric, kind of excited buying that I do is the shit that's not the way to do it. And then it's something like this. And then instead of buying down here, I'm like finally capitulating that bag that I bought when I shouldn't have. That's not the first time. That wouldn't be the first time I've done that. So having learned from past mistakes, I cooled my jets, and I'm looking for this kind of stuff on most things. Some of them a lot closer than others. Right? Jones is already kind of there. Could do that. The nice thing about waiting like that is that it's just if it plays out that way, because it doesn't have to, right? It doesn't have to dip and then go. Like I said many times today, we're just kind of in this, what I would expect to be more of this kind of market, where it's just fake out after fake out after fake out. I like to draw my squigglies that end in a big rally, but I should probably stop doing that for at least a year. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know about Jones. Like any one of these, they're all just kind of hovering above reload zones. Let's be honest. If I'm sitting here saying, damn it, where did ETH go? If I'm sitting here saying with a fair amount of confidence that I think Ethereum, however it gets there, even if today it's a nice place to be longing for a few days or something, however it gets there, I just feel like this level has to get a visit. So if that's the case, what are all those other charts going to look like? They're all going to be down in reload zones. I can get better prices. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with letting you sit in GMX and collecting fees and staking. I still have big positions in GLP. Like, not huge, but relatively healthy positions in GLP. Just cranking out AVAX. Should probably be doing it Arbitrum, but whatever. Meatfish, golden rule number 1. Never become a bag holding community member in a bear market. Yes. Yes. We all do it. We've all done it. We've all done it. If you haven't done it, good for you. Don't do it. I've done it. I even did it this cycle after telling myself last cycle I learned my lesson. But generally, I got away from most of them. But I still have some bags. I'm not a community member, though. I don't participate. I'm a shitty bag holder. I literally just like turn off notifications and try to forget about it. And then there's like that certain point of no return where you're like, it's so wrecked that I'm not even going to sell it. I would rather hold this last little bit to zero than risk like selling some bottom level and then, you know, whatever. So, but that is such a good rule. And it's crazy how the market will trap you in positions. Here's the psychology. M-top breakdown. Ooh, rejected. Nuke, nuke, nuke. Didn't waste any time. Week after week, just pure death. Now, I was thinking about selling here, but I didn't because I'm a hodler and we're in a bull market. And everyone on Twitter says we're going higher. Plan B says we're going to 100K. Okay. So you didn't sell there. Then this happens. And you're like, well, I'm not a lettuce hands. I'm a hodler. Okay. And then you get down here. Now maybe the hands weaken a little bit down there and you do puke your position. You FOMO back in. You feel stupid. Then you get rinsed again and you feel stupid. You sell it. Then you're like, oh my God, this time I'm definitely never selling again. And then through here, you say, nope, I'm not falling for that again. I'm not selling. Well, I didn't sell there. I'm definitely not selling down here. And you just get trapped. Let's go look at what it looks like to get trapped. There's an ICO. I actually just realized they still have a chart from 2017. Ooh, they rallied the other day. But here's an example of getting trapped. Look at that. That's absurd. This was a very exciting, promising looking ICO back in 2017 that I was in. Salt. It went insane. $17 from like a $25, $50, and $1 round. Whatever those were. It was actually 25 cents would have been like down here. Crazy profits. Well, look at me. I'm a bag holder now. I'm not, by the way. But this is an example just because I looked at this chart the other day. Did it ever come back? Nope. Is it ever going to come back? Probably not. Because it was like a weird CeFi lending service that got caught up in a bunch of regulatory shit because of how they did their ICO. So it's going to be very hard for them to ever do anything. And even if they do, it's going to be very hard for them to drive value to their token because it's all US regulated securities bullshit. So don't become a bag holding community member. Blockmate says Plan B is a scammer. Yeah, I don't know. I don't follow him. I muted him like years ago, but people talk about him a lot. Raven off the lows with great volume. But yes, I think any grown adult who says they know what's going to happen and then uses that confidence and conviction to kind of compel people to take action with their own money, I personally feel like that's pretty much just makes you a scammer. Because either you are smart enough and you know markets well enough to know that you don't know, so you're lying, you're being disingenuous just to sell your brand, or you're so stupid that you actually think you know. And in some sense, you're maybe less of a scammer then, but you're just an idiot. So I don't know. I don't like anyone who speaks with too high conviction on things. So if you guys ever catch me speaking with an insanely high level of conviction, slap me. Because that shit just pisses me off. I love giving these lukewarm analyses where I'm just like, it could happen, it might not. It doesn't help a lot of people. A lot of people are like, oh man, you didn't call it. You just said it looked kind of bullish and then you gave me a bear scenario. It's like, good, because my job wasn't to make you fucking buy it. My job was to explain what I see. And then perhaps you start to see the way see what I'm talking about, and then use that information to spot your own. Am I literally charting salt right now? Fuck off. So anyways, yeah, I'm with you on that, Blockmates. If he's, I don't know. I don't hate the guy. I also just never believed in the model. I was like, oh, cool model. Let's see how it plays out. I think it's easier to be angry with the guy if you fucking drank the Kool-Aid, right? I just never drank the Kool-Aid. So when Plan B's thing just went to shit, it was like, huh, look at that. Another model that wasn't a good model. We're going to 100K, just going to take some time. Yeah. Plan B is the king of scam. I think he got really popular. His whole whatever it was, stock to flow or something. I don't even know. I don't follow them. I mute. Guys, you got to mute the trash. Don't even block. Blocking people gives them like a weird satisfaction. They're like, I'm living rent free. Just quietly mute them. You never hear from them again. They don't even know. It's delicious. I've been muting people since 2021 when I discovered that you could mute people. And then when people start talking to you about all the scammers, you can be like, who? I don't know them because I don't follow scammers. Salt turned to lend. So what the hell's up with their token? I couldn't believe it when I found it yesterday. I was like, really? They're still tracking a price? Where is it even trading? Yeah, I don't know which lend it is. Maybe that wasn't that like Aave? Aave kind of pivoted. Anyways, Restless Native, has heard of Salt apparently. Anyways, that was just, I was using it as an example to show you what happens when you become a bag holder. Now let's go look at my favorite bag. This is the one I'm famous for because I made a goddamn video about how excited I was about it. I don't make too many videos about coins. I did one for this. The thing that pisses me off is my base thesis hasn't changed, but the tokenomics clearly stink. These are not bullish tokenomics. There's nothing about this chart that suggests that they've built in a way for people to have a demand to need the token. Now that is something sorely overlooked by me. That sucks. But you'll be happy to know I'm still holding. I might actually finally sell the bag someday just to get the tax loss write-off. So if I don't have my bag sometime before Christmas, don't be shocked. However, I did schedule a call with the founder, Bob Reed, because I want to catch up with them. I want to see what they're up to lately. That's going to factor into my decision. Because if they still have a lot of shit cooking and maybe a tokenomic overhaul, or if I can, bend his ear a little bit and give him some suggestions, you never know. Maybe we can make this the bottom, in which case I should be loading some up. So we'll see. But he continues to lead people down the garden path of wreckage. Yeah, it sucks. I don't know. I don't know why people have this obsession with, with getting people to follow them. I'm on Twitter. I do this stuff. I like teaching, and I like that people appreciate what I have to say. But there's this really weird bit of me that's like, there's this part of me that just finds it really cringy when everyone's like, it's not enough for me to do well. I must make everyone follow me. And that's great. And when things go well, it's really cool. You get a big dopamine rush. But it's a lot of responsibility. And when the rug comes out of the market, which it always does eventually, you got to give your damn head a shake, because I hate the feeling that people lost money because of something I did or said. So I tend to shy away from high conviction comments. If you're not buying Ethereum here, what the hell are you even doing in the market? It's going up. Why would I ever say that? Seems whiskey. Dude, Ryan Berg, you got a fat bag of DIVI. You have been in the stream asking about DIVI. I'm going to take a look at it because I like ya. But I'm nervous for you because this is a coin. If it's the one I'm thinking of, yeah, it's been pushing up too since you brought it up. So I'll give you that. Up 100% off the lows. But if it's the DIVI I'm thinking of, 49% off the lows. Okay. If it's the DIVI I'm thinking of from like way back when, last cycle, cool. I remember there was a coin called that, I think, September 19th. I don't know if it's the same one. I feel like it couldn't be. It was so long ago. It was like 2017. But yeah, I mean, look, there's nothing particularly special about it. I mean, there's some volume coming in. It's down in it's definitely in like an investable level of the chart where you're like, generally speaking, rip-roaring bull, greed everywhere. Probably don't go load all the bags and sit tight and think you're going to make it. This is definitely the time of the cycle to start doing things like that. I'll give you that. But I'd have to look into it a lot to find out why. Out of all the coins and the times to pick them, this is where and this is when and this is what I would pick. So we'll see. I know, it's up 50% since the lows. But I don't know. What does it do? I'd have to click through the website and look. Because this chart, it's first of all, it's coming into resistance. So you know, it's coming to this like high time frame, like bing, 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 bing. So it's probably at best going to come down, make a higher low, and then, you know, there's a better place to pick it up. But my guess is it's just the beginning of a trough if this is where it's going to bottom. Because it just arrived here. And assets, they tend to carve out a long accumulation bottom for time, kind of like it did here. Kind of like it did here. Lots of consolidation before the up move, right? We don't see that here yet. So patience. Probably January, February. If I had to guess, I'd say Jan, Feb are going to be interesting times to be loading up things. And then Q2 would be an interesting time to be selling those things. As far as like building positions and building a bankroll back to get ready for the next rip-roaring bull. Ooh, John just made a comment about one of my bags. Let's go see. I love, what is it? Forget the name. Synapse. Synapse 2. Is this the one? I think it is. Yeah, I have a bag of Synapse. Actually, I remember because it had a very cute looking setup. Something like that. And I don't do big triangles very often, but it was something like that. And it had broken out. And then it retested, and I bought some. And because I did it on chain with no stop losses, I did not sell it here, so I am now holding the bag. And I think I doubled my position somewhere through this. So I've averaged out. I'm just about at break even now. So I do have some Synapse. I'm bullish on Stargate, Synapse, and all the other multi-chain bridging technologies as a thesis going into the next few years. So I'm not really worried about that bag. I'm not selling it. I'm going to just hold it. Yeah, and it's showing some signs of life. W retest. So for now, that's the lows. That's where I'd risk against. If I wanted to add more, I would not do it until I got a level that was very close to those lows. I'm going to take those off, and then there's my reload zone. So yeah, it'd be something like this. And go figure, the 786 lines up perfectly with this breakout level. So not saying it goes there, but that's the only time I'd consider buying it. And that's actually like a 40% drop from here, so that's kind of crazy. Doesn't look like it, but that's about 43, 44, yeah. Patience, 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 patience. The market's not going anywhere, guys, and it's literally not ever going anywhere. Like it's, you know, you could say that at any time. It's just the market's going to be here. But in particular, this phase of the market. Don't get sucked into thinking like the bull is going to be back next week. It just won't be. Even if we move up, it's probably just chop city. So appreciate you too, Ryan. Thanks for coming to watch today and hanging out. It went as high as $2. Oh, it did. Yeah, 193. And this is like aggregate volume or price from CoinMarketCap. So yeah, there's probably an exchange where it hit $2, but this is like 195. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, let's take a look at XMON. XMON is coming into some levels, I noticed. It's on my watch list. I never did buy any. Thank God. Because I was late. Now, I could have made a trade on it. Certainly had an opportunity to make a trade. I was there the night that Messi first bought. Because one of my buddies messaged me. He's like, bro, Messi just aped into like a $2 million bag of this thing or whatever it was. One fat candle. Anyway, I don't know where he did that, but I was watching since then. And of course here I had some regret and a little FOMO. Didn't buy this level, saw this nuke up, and I just was like, wow, I'm just not chasing this thing. And now, as we've been talking about on the show today, it's coming into those levels. So I wonder if fundamentally anything is less sexy about it now that it's down here. Probably not. It's just getting closer to a reasonable level where the buyers I expect will step back in. So yeah, XMON, great example of being patient. I didn't touch it through all of that. And all I told myself is, look, it's probably going to come back down in here at some point. And then when it does, I'll have to see, you know, is it still as fucking cool as it was up here? Because up here it was like, oh my God, it's the next best thing. It's going to $1 billion market cap. So if that's true, I like it even more now than I did then. Can I get the 88.6? Sort of 10 to 15,000 range would be pretty sweet for me at this point. Oh God, don't bring up Popsicle Finance, Kevin. I need to sleep tonight. Okay, Swivel Jaw has asked, briefly explain what Hxro is to someone who has no clue about it. I would highly recommend you check out our show called The Network Effect. It's on Tuesdays, usually every other Tuesdays, but I think we're going to do 2 in a row this week because there's a new kind of thing coming up on the 20th, next Tuesday. And I don't know that I'm comfortable. I don't want to butcher it. It'd be pretty brutal to butcher it, but it's essentially a Solana primitive, first of its kind, built from scratch, multiple AMMs all coming together to create a robust options and derivatives liquidity layer on Solana. How'd I do? We'll have to hear from the bosses. Did I capture it all in one? But it is going to be built on like a value accrual kind of model where you can stake Hxro to own a piece of the network fees. And that's what I like about it. That's one of my favorite parts as a user. And to be clear, my relationship with Hxro is entirely based on streaming, right? I'm not an owner. I'm not a founder. I'm not an employee. So I am also a user and will be a user of their on-chain perps and stuff. I'm going to be trading there. So Adam, the next buy the rumor, sell the news around the Columbia conference, or will the tokenomics actually be able to carry it? That's a great question, Dan. Let's take one last look. I think we'll have to wrap here in a sec because I do have to get out. I have to go do something. I have to go do some adulting. Let's go take a quick look at Adam because actually I noticed something happened. We talked about this one on stream. Ooh. Somebody on stream, they said, Adam was here the other day. He was just breaking out. And somebody was kind of like, we're talking bullish about it, saying it's probably headed up here. And it was kind of like, how would you use your PCZ and all your tools to go and find an entry? And it actually kind of played out the way that I talked about it that day, which was basically that if you are going to do it that way, you have to be willing to watch it go without you. You have to, at the time it was here, you have to follow it up with your fib. Because if you want to be a PCZ buyer, you have to wait for that. And the funny thing is that day I said, I bet it will come up to somewhere like this because that's what made these levels kind of align with previous support resistance. And it also made sense over here because there's resistance there. So it kind of played out that way. It did not tag the PCZ. It still might. Judging by the rest of the market, if it's going to be shitty for the next little bit, this would be sort of, and then, so if it does something like that, that's going to be a really nice area to be thinking about taking a trade because that's your second leg. So you have your first leg, your second leg. Now let's pretend it did that. What would that look like? 1. And let's say the low of that, dips. You can't know, but wherever that dip ended down here, we would attach that. And then we could say maybe that trade is going to be like an A, B, C, D, something like that. And would that align with a fib extension? And could I use a few tools to get some confluence to find out where I might sell? Pay myself. Yeah, so we can see some reasons on the chart, right? Resistance, fib extension, ABCD target. So if it rolls and dips through here for a few weeks, let's not lose sight of it. Let's remember it's still really bullish, but we got to buy it when it's boring in the dips at the levels, right? That's a trade I'd like to take. I would like to get some Adam in my life. I have a very small position just staking, but nothing to write home about. So I'd like to add through this. That's what I see on Adam. Now, the other thing you have to consider, there's nothing actionable here, but when these 382s get front run and they just doesn't even make it there and then bounces and continues higher, oh my God, the move following is usually really strong. That's something I noticed through the bull. It may not apply now because we're in kind of a bearish crab market, but for what it's worth. Actually, another request of a wild chart. Fold went to 91 in a 1 hour candle after the merge. Yeah, I know. Fold is low liquidity. So I have a position. I'm not planning on selling it anytime soon. I do wonder, and I do consider the fact that I may ride it pretty far down if it does decide to just cool it for the next little bit. But I actually think that they're going to be one of the top block builders on ETH. So this chart is not looking good. I mean, typically, it just looks exhausted. It's had a nice run. There was no real buy volume to back that breakout. Now there's some bears stepping in. So if I had to be a guesser, like most things I've talked about today, I think this thing's headed to the reload zone. And that sucks because I've got this bag. I've got quite a bit of profit baked into the position. And so I would have to watch a paper gain turn down. But fundamentally, I think this thing, if they are going to be one of the top block builders on ETH2, the kind of revenue that will generate for stakers, the kind of valuation repricing that would occur in the result of that, is gargantuan. Multi-billion-dollar FDV kind of stuff. That's my thesis. So I am willing to ride this out. I mean, fuck, I invested in this thing in September 2020 is when we started talking to them. We made our investment in like December 2020. It didn't go live until July 2021, and I barely sold anything. I think I sold like 4, 5, 6% of my bags through this, just because, just to take some profits. But the pre-sale price was $2.50. So just to be clear, that's what some people are sitting on. Now, a lot of that crowd, if they were going to sell, probably already did. So I feel pretty good about the holder base right now. But yeah, looking at that chart, I'm like, fuck. I saw that breakout last night during the during the merge. Hit $100. I was like, oh yeah, we're breaking out. But this just looks like it needs to recharge for a bit. Sadly. So whatever that looks like, the alternative possibility is that we come into these kinds of levels as support. And we just do kind of what Matic did midway through its mega rally last year, where it just never fully rolled over. It just kind of like chopped sideways and then marked up. That's the bull case. The more kind of patient wait and see RT bear case is we just end up down here at some point in the next few months and then go. But we'll see. I think because the blocks are already in action, they're going to collect data for the next 24, 48 hours. And then we're going to see how much money are they making? How many blocks are they building? Then we can project what are potential revenues, what are potential stakers. Then we can apply some kind of valuation model to the token. And I think if they're being successful with the block building, that this token will look severely undervalued. I hope is better than I think, maybe. But either way, I've held this long. Their narrative has never been stronger. So if I got to eat one more dip to get into a big fat price discovery post 100 breakout, I'm very comfortable doing that. Yeah, this thing moves fast, guys. Look, it's 1.2 million liquidity. I have reason to believe, a little birdie told me, no, but I have reason to believe that they will have much more robust liquidity sometime in the near future. I would say sometime Q4. We're going to see a boost in liquidity. So that will make it much more attractive because, let's be honest, whales don't want to buy coins and join ecosystems, become community members, take positions in coins that they don't think they can ever sell. So even if you spend months building this big position over here, it's going to go up 10x, and it's like it can't even sell because there's not enough liquidity. So it needs to be more liquid. They know that, and they're working on it. They have some things buzzing happening to make it happen. So I have all the faith in this one. I like this one a lot. But make no mistake about it. On a TA perspective, this looks like shit short term. So I'm going to see if I can add at 40, add at 33, add at 25. Own a little more. Get ready for the next leg. That's kind of my thinking on Fold right now. So we'll see. Next 48 hours, we should get some data from the team on sort of how that block building is going, kind of out of the gates. And if it's lucrative and juicy, then TA won't matter and it'll just reprice. Oh my God. Kevin shorted LUNC. Lucky bastard. I say lucky, but I mean, it takes balls, skill, you have the wherewithal to look. Really nice short, dude. Easiest short in the world. But, you know, not the easiest because it's always the question of like, well, where do you look to short it? A lot of people probably tried to short it way too soon. But yeah, it's looking like shit. And it's probably not done going down. This reminds me of Dogecoin. This like painfully long crush consolidation that eventually just exploded. I mean, it looks so obvious in retrospect, but I'll be the first to tell you I was not looking at Luna. And wasn't about to start, and I'm not sad I missed it. AKA, fuck Luna. Okay, well, it's at the 618, so here we are dunking on everyone. You know, if you start to flex your P&Ls and feel good about your short, the reality is this is the beginning of the reload zone. Places where you can expect to see support, aka bounces, reversals. So let's see how far it drips into that, and if there's bullish divergence and buyers stepping in. You know, for now it's just in a strong downtrend and no end in sight. My guess is it hits at least the 786 at some point. But don't be surprised if it chills here for a while. Something like that. You never know. You never know. Just, I wonder what the funding is on that. I feel like it's probably paying longs and shorts are just eating shit. So we'll see. Guys, I've got to run. I got a whole list of things I got to do adulting today. I got to work through this hangover. I was up late for the merge. I hope you guys had a wonderful night watching it. It's big. It's really big. I mean, for 2 years, the meme was like, when ETH2? And it was like, you know, they were getting shit on. Well, it's here now. And it's setting up for the next series of upgrades to Ethereum. I'm very excited. Hopefully, I can get my fills at 1,200, 1,250, 1,300 ETH. And then hopefully that level holds. And we can have a big, fun couple of years coming up. Joe says, shout out to RT for discussing all the hottest stuff. Thanks, man. I try. When the Twitter threads rolled in is when I shorted. Yeah, sounds about right. Funding is brutal. Yeah, I also saw the funding. It was disgusting, especially after the arrest warrant for Do Kwon. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes, if he gets arrested or not. It's in a different country from where he is, so maybe he'll just not go home. You guys have a wonderful day, and whatever you do from